Welcome back to Talking Shop Podcast, Ohio's #1 running podcast. This is Noah Graham, Hunter Moore, and Nathan Moore. A little bit of action for you from last weekend. We got a Ohio senior meet as well as a D2 regional race and college D2, and then collegiate Division 1 and 3 national meets. I'll kick it off with a little bit of high school. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, it was just the one meet, but coming from the boys and girls race. Girls race, definitely the most exciting on the day. I will preface all this. The course, from what I've heard, and conditions in general were in no shape for fast times. Only had a handful of guys under 16 in the men's race and no girls under 18, which isn't too typical for a bunch of fast seniors. But on the girls' side, Ohio took a 1-2 finish with Megan Hipple. Bit of a bounce-back race from her. She's from McDonald. I believe she was 4th last week at the D3 cross-country state championships, but obviously a phenomenal win for her this week. And then runner-up was Jaylee Wingate from Norwayne. She was runner-up in Division 3 2 weeks ago at the state meet. We actually beat Megan Hipple, who was 7 seconds ahead of her. They went 18-15 and 18-22. Definitely good races for them. That's a pretty cool experience. Go down there and do that with a bunch of other Ohio seniors.
Ohio,
yep.
Also,
really
cool.
Kind of rounding out the women's top 5. We had Caitlin Jones from Hilliard at 6th, Savannah Dennison from Menor at 8th, and then Abby Drozdak from Northmont. In 9th, that rounded out Ohio's team. Ohio women actually won the meet as well.
Let's go.
26 points to Indiana's 43. There are only 3 teams in the race, but it's a lot of good teams.
What?
Usually Michigan does it.
No Michigan this year.
What?
Isn't it usually... No, Michigan is in this.
They did have a team. Oh, I'm sorry. Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. Isn't that is that not what I said?
Oh, maybe.
Isn't there usually... Who's the 4th usually?
Illinois?
That's a good question.
Illinois sounds right.
Yeah.
Maybe there is just 3.
No, there's usually 4, though.
Illinois.
Maybe get a stat on that from past years.
I mean, I raced the track one.
I never raced it in cross.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, you start talking about the guys, and actually, I'll look into it from last year.
All right. Well,
how about that? We do a lot of research, as you can tell.
On the men's side, wasn't quite as exciting. No disrespect to the Ohio boys. We were missing some of the big guys like Ackley and Tommy Rice coming off that NXR performance. I'm sure they're getting ready for NXN for Ackley, Foot Locker for Tommy, maybe a running lane in there for either one of them. Not totally sure. And there are a few names missing in there, but our 1542 won the race.
Yeah.
Indiana guy. Like I said, nothing too insane. But then at 4th, we had Innocent Natwali from Miamisburg. He ran 1552. And also Landon Armstrong, D3 guy from Bluffton, ran 1553. Then one of the triplets, been talking about all year, Trevor Illinois was 3rd. Marcus Runkle from Fairfield Union, D2 guy, was 11th. And then Caden Illinois, another triplet, was 12th, rounding out the 5 for Ohio. Everyone under 16. Like I said, nothing too crazy. Would like to note Jack Agnew, D2 state runner-up by few seconds, was 19th, got beat by a bunch of Ohio guys.
Did he run NXR?
Did not. He was entered initially, but no Carroll guys ran. Maybe they were, I guess I should have seen if they were taken off the start list right before the race, but at least 48 hours before NXR, their whole team was scheduled. Sometimes these postseason meets don't always go. People want them to go, especially a meet like this. There's not really a whole lot of weight on it.
Yeah.
But it's a cool experience for those who don't know, a senior meet. If you're a top 12 senior, in Ohio, you get invited to go race down in Kettering, Ohio. You race usually Michigan, Indiana, and one other state, depending on the year.
Okay, so I guess it's sometimes Illinois. It's kind of weird because I looked in 2019. Illinois is not racing in 2019, but I looked in, obviously, 2020 COVID, so there was no meet. 2021, Illinois did race. So I don't know. I guess it's just they do what they want.
Were there only 3 teams in 2019?
Yes.
Well, there you go. So, but they pay for your travel and stuff. They feed you. They give you a jersey and a warm-up suit as well. Says your state on it. You get to keep it all, meet a bunch of other athletes, play games.
I did the track one. It was a good experience, just being with some of the best guys.
Same experience in track. Same thing in track.
Same exact thing, yeah.
It's pretty sweet. What do you have to be in track? Top 4 in your event? 5?
It might. I think in track one, it's more of just like they get to choose kind of more of it. Because I remember I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't a specific thing. It could have been.
To my knowledge, they compile all the
Oh, maybe
races,
it
same
is.
in cross, and then it's the top. It's 3,
Gotcha.
4, 5 in each event. Depends
Gotcha.
a little bit. Obviously, a little different in track.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was fun. It was at Will up in
Right.
Delaware. It was
Right.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely high school winding down for sure. Be really interesting to watch a little bit what Ackley does at NXN, see what can develop at Running Lane, and then a Foot Locker as well for the Ohio guys. But definitely
it's really
winding
not
down.
to the best guys right now.
Right,
The nitty-gritty of it all. The Ackleys, the Tommy Rices, the Kitty Klutz.
Right, absolutely. And from what I've gathered from who I've talked to, pretty much everyone that ran in the senior meet is wrapping it up for the year.
Really? So Agnew's probably done. No Foot Locker.
Agnew's
appearance.
done. Innocent Natwali, to my knowledge, is done. Pretty much all those girls are done. I know Jaylee Wingate's done.
Gotcha.
It kind of seemed like this was their last.
Last hurrah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that wraps us up for our high school today. We'll move over to college. We'll start off with NCAA Division I national championships this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Out in Stillwater, some blazing times, some fun races.
Yeah,
We could talk about that stuff all day.
Impressively fast. The course is not fast.
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah.
Sorry. Continue.
And no, you're fine. But we are an Ohio podcast, so let's give some Ohio highlights. Start
Sure.
off, OSU girls delivered. There were
Yeah.
questions after Big Tens.
Sure
there were still questions after Great Lakes, even after good performance, really only as a result of Big Tens. But man, did they perform.
Yeah.
Addie Engel, 10th overall finish in 1950, led Ohio State Buckeyes to a 15th place finish, best in program history.
Wow.
Followed by Daniela Santos in 61st and Andrea Kuhn in 75th.
Yeah, those are all Ohio girls. All Ohio high school girls.
Yep, their whole team.
Yeah.
And that's what rounded them out. Here's what's cool. They bring 6 out of 7 girls back, all 5 scores.
Wow.
That's
Looks like there's
dangerous.
going to be another, if everything goes well and everything stays healthy,
That is-
another school record. Or did you say it was the best finish this past race for Ohio State women?
Yes, it was.
Looking for another best finish next year, then hopefully crack that top 10, even maybe better than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it all starts out front, I think. Addie Engles she's been dynamite for years now. She's been one of the top runners in Division I.
And she impressed everybody. Last week, I think you brought up a little bit of lactic rating stuff. What was she, around 30th?
I think 20th, yeah.
20th or so. I mean, you look at any of these, you're on Instagram, social media, running lactic, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're like,
report,
and you're looking at all these different things. No one had her outside. I mean, let's say 20. If she was 20th, no one had her inside of the top 20.
Yeah.
Like no one. And she went off. I mean, 1950 is insanely fast.
It just goes to show you. I feel like there's big races, anything can happen. I mean, especially in D1, where all those top girls are rather close. Maybe it's like Tui might be better, and Parker Vall be better than everyone else. But there's just that huge pack. Besides that
right.
Any given day, it kind of comes down to who wants it more, who's feeling a little better. Addie Engles clearly had it on Saturday. She looked really good.
Absolutely. Other Ohio All-Americans on the individual side, we had Samantha Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Who raced very well, a 15th place finish, helped her team take home the win.
Yeah,
she's a
NC State
team
squad.
racer.
Wolfpack.
So yeah, great stuff from Samantha Bush. Honestly, not a shocker that she performed so well because she's been doing great all season. She's been up there, but you just love to see the Ohio girls getting it done.
Yes.
Also, I don't know if we've talked about her actually at all this season, but Savannah Roark from Syracuse, Beaver Creek alumni,
Yes.
Taylor
Right.
Ewert's
Yes.
teammate,
That's right.
23rd place in this race, 2009.
go.
I feel like that's a standout race for her.
It has to be.
Phenomenal. You said 23rd?
Yeah, 23rd. I mean, no smoke to Taylor Hewitt, who finished farther back in the race on Arkansas's team. But Taylor Hewitt used to be the talk of the town, and Savannah was always just like...
Kind of the afterthought.
Yeah,
almost.
kind of the afterthought. I mean, she was always incredible. They went 1-2 at the state meet, I believe, in 2019. And she because Hewitt was so good, she was just always like kind of looked over.
Right.
But she's up there now,
Good for her.
23rd place,
Lactic
All-American.
39th before this. So
39th.
So she was
39th
supposed
to
to be around the
23rd.
All-American bubble,
Outperforming.
so she went way above beyond that, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
Congrats to her.
There you go. Something else I want to want to note, Addie Engel didn't quite have it on, not necessarily note, but maybe just think about, Addie Engel didn't quite have it on the track last year, didn't make NCAA final in any event, then to be 10th overall in the 6K. She did run 15:59 at one point last year, but once it got to, regionals and that area, it didn't quite put it together. Just kind of be interesting to see what she's able to pull together by the time we get there.
Maybe we'll put together a full season, right? Because she was able to in cross. I don't think she had a bad race this year. I mean, I've been following her all year, and she's pretty much won everything in sight.
I think that was her lowest finish, was 10th. A lot of wins, second at the regional meets.
Yeah, right.
Another good race was Joy Chicher from Toledo. Led her team to their first ever national championship appearance.
Yeah.
And she did it pretty well, I thought. 52nd place. Her lactic time is pretty consistent with the rest of the year. I mean, she held tough and fought. Her teammates, unfortunately, did not have as good of a race. But, I mean, still, first national berth ever. They return, I believe, all 7 on their team. So, future looks bright for this team.
Absolutely, and I was going to say that as well. Toledo, Nathan, you didn't quite. They were 28th overall. They were ranked as high as 16th this year. Big 12th place finish at Nuttycombe. I'm sure it's not quite how they wanted to end it. You know, you get to the national meet, a lot of things have to fall in place.
It does.
They were first girl Joy, obviously 52nd, then Faith Linga was 127th. Usually those two need to be a little bit closer for things to click on the right day.
Yeah.
But definitely, like Nathan said, interesting to see what happens next year. OSU and Toledo bringing back all their scorers.
Future's bright.
Usually that's when good things happen. So,
you know, unfortunately, those national meets, like obviously you hear the teams that run really well, but for all those teams that run really well, there's got to be a team that probably didn't run so well to make that happen. And unfortunately, Toledo fell on the bottom end on that.
Right. Well, even to slightly jump outside of Ohio, Stanford ranked first coming in, dropped to 4th. Really, everyone raced fine except for, their second, third guy, Cole Sprout.
Yeah.
Dropped to like 160th or so, 150th.
Talks that he was hurt. Don't know for sure, but yeah.
I don't know, maybe. But when you watch the race, he got out good. He slowly dropped for half the race, maybe a little over, and then really dropped.
Yeah.
Usually when you're hurt, it's quick and decisive.
Right.
Also, individual qualifier, Carmen Riano from Miami. She's 188th. Nothing too crazy, but she individually qualified to the Division I national meet. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
So, awesome job, Carmen.
Yeah,
kind of rounding out Division I. Obviously, no one on the men's team side.
Yeah.
A couple guys, sophomore, true sophomore. Beatty Baugh from Kent State was 126th. He ran 30:26. This is like a 148 800 high school guy.
Yeah,
and he's a true sophomore running a 10K.
An aerobic guy.
How do you even do that? First of all, why did their coach say, "Oh, you ran 148. I'm going to have you individually qualified to the national meet in cross"? I mean, obviously cross you don't have quite that option, but still, I mean, awesome for him.
I don't know what his high school times look like, but did he run the 2 mile much? Or
no, 148 at Brooks PR.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
149, something like that.
Some guys that do that don't even run cross for their team. Obviously, Kent State couldn't really afford that because they're not deep. But
when you're talking about recruiting a guy to do that and whatnot, maybe that's how they sent some more money his way. Maybe he flew under the radar. No disrespect to Kent State at all. But how do you get a 148 guy?
Doesn't usually happen.
All the money, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for them though. They found their guy. He's a little bit of a diamond in the rough, as you may say, for the aerobic event. Obviously, track, he's killing it. But good. They found their guy. It looks like for the next few years, a key piece to their cross country team. Hopefully, it draws some more recruits their way, or for the best for him. But
yeah, absolutely.
It was a decent race for him. That was good race, 126. I feel like that's pretty solid for what he was supposed to do, probably.
For sure.
Coming into this year.
Right. 2 more guys graduated from high school in Ohio. Then I'll turn it over to you boys. But we had Arjun Jha from Michigan, was 161st, and then Matt Scrape from Pick North or Pick Central?
Pick Central.
Pick Central, a few spots ahead of him. Arjun, Ohio's highest hope going in.
I say Vinny was.
Vinny, yes. I'm sorry, Vinny.
Placed 87th.
Yes, Vinny.
Camerieri was actually our top
Yes, I had
finisher.
that right below his.
Yeah.
Yep.
Continue though. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Vinny definitely high. Arjun, a lot of guys high on him. Made it out. Heard through the grapevine, he tripped in the first 400 meters or so.
That'll be a recipe for disaster.
If you check out his post on Instagram, shout out Arjun on Instagram.
And obviously,
new Instagram account.
Yep. Yeah. And obviously, he fall first 400 meters of a 10K. There's a lot of race left, but sometimes it's just so demoralizing. It's hard to get back
Yeah,
up. Honestly,
especially when it
that
comes-
he got back up and kept, you keep going.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He fought really well.
I mean, there's a
and-
lot of people that'd rather just check out. He's a fifth year or maybe
it's
sixth year, but
fifth year, yeah.
regardless, he's used the last of his eligibility in cross.
Yep.
A lot of guys in him, I'm sure he had pretty high hopes going into this based on his regional meet. I'm sure he had really high hopes going in, and he could have just checked out, but he didn't. Got back up, finished.
End of the day, fuel for the fire for track. He has 2 more years of that. He's a 6-year in track, so no, he's
That's crazy.
He's good. He had a big year, so good for him regardless.
Yeah, turn it over.
Yeah,
D2
of course.
regionals, Hunter.
All right,
got
well,
something?
I
Oh,
want
go
to touch
ahead.
up. Yeah, just want to mention Anthony Camerieri out of Brecksville, Broadview Heights. He runs for Ole Miss, ran for Miami, Ohio last year. Breakout star last year. He was good all this year. He went 55th place, just outside that All-American spot. Vinny Mari of Howland High School. He runs for Arizona State. He had an off day. He got 87th, which isn't bad, but he was supposed to be a top 35, top 40 finisher. So that's a little bit of disappointment for him. I'm sure he won that All-American spot, but he's also he's a senior, but I'm sure he has another year. And then lastly, before we turn it over, I'm going to shout out, like we talked about last week, Aaron Benfield. He runs for Oregon. He got 14th. He ran for UC for 4 years, though. He's not from Ohio, like I mentioned numerous times, but he is an Ohio boy at heart. He's a Bearcat at heart. So shout out to that guy. For
Maybe.
14th.
I don't know. He came across the country to be an Ohio boy and left a couple years later. But he's legit.
maybe
He's
they don't love it,
14th? I mean,
it is super good.
he can run 29-12.
He'll go pro, yeah. But yeah, let's kind of touch up on that D2 regionals, and you boys obviously ran it.
Out at Kenosha.
Yeah, it's snowy.
Single digits fuel at race time.
I
True.
heard they made you guys take the warm-ups off. It was just a different level. Feel like that cryotherapy a little bit? Or what'd that feel like?
It was really cold.
Truthfully, I don't
the
think
wind was tough.
I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for me and Nathan and a lot of other guys that probably ran well. No one was really trying to think about the cold.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about in the sport, you got to control what you can control.
That's
and
absolutely true.
Don't worry about what you can't control because
you can't think about that.
you can't control it.
Yeah.
Weather just happens to be one of those things.
I mean, at the end of the day, you might be running in this weather, but guess what? So's a guy next to you. Everyone in this
Absolutely.
race has to
One thing
run
you can control, though, is how much you draft off the pack ahead of you.
Jakob Ingeberken.
Yeah, and let me tell you what, that played a huge part into the race, at least for our team. And everyone else I was running with did the exact same thing.
Backed up kind of thing.
If you're not familiar with the Kenosha course,
it's also the Foot Locker Regional course.
Yeah, Foot Locker Regional course is a giant hill that probably goes up
about 3/4 of a mile straight up. I mean, I say straight uphill. It sounds like it's a cliff.
It goes up and then
inclined.
it evens and then goes up once again. It's just a grind. If you've been there, if you've seen video, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But I would say it was about 15, 20 mile an hour winds going right into your face while you were going up that hill. So that was huge, and that made that race get out so slow. And about 5:15 for the first mile for the leaders, which is just embarrassing.
I mean, in normal terms,
yeah,
yes.
in normal terms. But when you think about it, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We picked it up after. But
Sure.
it was a very, very interesting day out there for sure.
Well, went well for these boys. Walsh cross country, 3rd place finish, same place we got last year. So Autobid, they will be running in Seattle in 2 weeks. Nationals, a big time race from guys like Graham, who was our 5, ran super well. Julian Schrock was our 3, and he got 24th all region. Congrats to him. And then Nathan and Zach killed it, and Zach got that win over Tanner Chata. Tanner Chata's ranked top 3 individual in the country, and Zach just beat him. So he's looking at a legitimate shot of maybe even winning this thing at D2 Nationals in 2 weeks. So obviously, best of luck to him. I'll be out there cheering him on, cheering the boys on, but overall, really good performance by these guys. Other guys that also made it out from Ohio, Evan Leist, huge performance. He's been needing a performance like this all year. He was a little bit of a breakout star in indoor last year, but this was a whole nother level. He was ended up in that front pack the whole race, ended up finishing up at 4th, so we'll be seeing him in Seattle.
Let me shine some light on that. Evan Leist, since I was there racing with him in the same pack, I had a really good angle on that performance.
Yeah.
Dude got out from the beginning and just took the wind going up that hill, like the first half mile. Like, this dude didn't even care. He just took it. And then he continued to be in the lead for the first 1.5 miles roughly. And then he gave up the lead and dropped back to the pack and then was chilling with us. But he literally just led the thing the whole time. I mean, talk about just feeling good on a day and just capitalizing and going with it. And that's what he did. I honestly thought that he was not going to hold on, but he just did, man. And a couple times I surged ahead of him and was in 3rd or 4th, and he was behind.
Yeah.
But that
You look cozy
It
too
didn't
with
kill him.
the gator on or whatever.
Yeah, he
looked-
was cozy.
Yeah, he looked nice and
But
nice and warm out there.
He held on and
Oh, he
kicked
ran
pretty
awesome.
well at the
And
end.
He has a guy with a pretty incredible story. About a little more of a year ago, cross country last year, he got COVID, and it took him out the whole year, and ended up having heart conditions from it. Didn't even know if he was going to be able to run after last year. Obviously, he's still running, so he's kind of cleared that up. Hopefully for the best, and he's running better than he ever has, which I don't think he expected even like 6 months ago. So. Honestly, yeah, awesome job. Evan Leist, congrats.
Evan Leist, Cedarville guys, by the way, if any viewers don't know who that is.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Cedarville, yeah. Evan Leist is Cedarville's top guy. Yeah.
Where do you go to high school?
Some real small school in Southwest Ohio. I'm not sure what it's called, to be honest with you. He's a D3 guy, I'm almost positive. But talk about another guy who's going to make nationals, Noah Fisher, and that's no surprise. He's been pre-ranked all year long by Stride Report, everyone, to be a top 25 guy at nationals. Of course, he's going to make it. Maybe he'd been a little off at regionals, but at the end of the day, he made it to nationals. It's all good. He will be there. He got 10th place from Findlay. Some other guys that we want to touch up on that are from Ohio that did really well. Jordan Foster, 17th place. He was all-region. Jordan Foster, Findlay, I'm sorry. Max Kuker is Malone's runner, which is the first time we talked about a Malone runner this whole podcast. But he ran out of his mind. He'll take home an all-region medal, and he got 18th, so huge job, huge performance from him. And lastly, Nick DeHaven. I did not think he'd run that when he did. Congrats to him. Maybe put my money where my mouth is. He ran super well. He got 22nd all-region. Nice job, DeHaven.
Findlay, I feel like finally having that 1, 2, 3 that they did at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, which they kind of lacked for a while. I mean, either Foster or DeHaven ran bad the rest of the year, one of the two. They never all three clicked at one time.
Yeah.
They did today. Obviously, that wasn't enough. Or then on Saturday, wasn't enough because their 4-5 kind of held them back a bit. But, yeah, it's good. And switch over to the girls' side. Not as much to talk about. The only Ohio-related individual/team to make it was Cedarville. Obviously, they were going to make it. They're 6th in the country for Division II. They lost to Grand Valley State, scored 31 points, which is just disgusting. 1, 2, 3, 11, 14. They still put up 73. Easily second. Got second by 50 points. Another interesting note, Cedarville had 6 girls in front of the next Ohio individual, which was Walsh's very own Bridget Hahn, 28th place. Cedarville's super deep, man. It's a good team. We're going to look out for them at nationals, a real legitimate shot at podium finish. We wish the best of those girls down there as well, as Evan Leist will also be going with them. So it's awesome. Good for them all.
Yeah. Awesome.
Is that all we got for D2? Do you guys have any?
Let's touch on the Adams State real quick.
Oh,
just
of course.
because I think
It's
it's
huge
interesting.
news. Yeah.
It does not relate to Ohio really much at all, but I think it's interesting enough where we ought to talk about
a
it.
little bit of background.
Yeah.
Adams State, one of the best programs, Division II history, historical program, based off of Colorado. All those Colorado teams are super good in Division II. And this year, they were ranked second best in the country behind the other stacked Colorado team, Colorado School of Mines.
Let's just say, if you don't know who Adams State is, we don't got to explain it. Go figure it out.
Google Adams State, you'll see.
One of the best T2 teams ever. Sorry, Hunter, go ahead.
No, of course. Thanks for clarifying that. You're right. And so they come in here ranked second. They had a good conference race. I think second behind Colorado School of Mines. Nothing wrong. All of a sudden, they get 7th in the region. And it is a good region, but they lost to some teams that really had no business losing to.
7th in their region.
And right now, they're on
brutal.
the cusp of not making it to nationals because they might not have enough at-large bids. We will find out today at 5 p.m. if they do. But if not, I mean, that's pretty huge for everyone else in D2 because that's another spot. Team-wise, you move up a bunch of individuals because they had the guy named Owet Baraki was the second best runner in outdoor track last year. Got second at 10K. 28 low guys, super stud. He got 33rd, and he was their 2 guy. So individually, they won't have anyone either, I don't think, unless Adams State's one auto-qualify, which I don't think he did. So they'll have to be very, very lucky to get this at-large bid spot, and we don't think they will, but we will see. So it's just crazy that a team that historic, that dominant, chokes that hard. I've never seen anything like it.
And to clarify for these at-large spots, obviously Adams State, second in the nation. They did get beat by the team ranked ahead of them. But for them to make it at 7th, all 6 teams in front of them have to qualify. There's no way that they're allowed to make it without all of those teams qualifying.
Yes,
And there's an unranked team, literally an
CSU
unranked team.
I know.
Did not even receive votes that beat them.
They got that's the same conference. CSU Pueblo, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
and Adams State are in the same conference, and they beat them by like 200 points at their conference meet. Something stupid.
We don't know what happened.
And you can make every argument in the world why just kind of in a vacuum, you just pick teams, why Adams State should be at the national meet. It doesn't matter because CSU Pueblo should not be there, so Adams State can't get in.
It's not a subjective process we're trying to say. It's objective.
Yes,
it's not like, Adams State's second best, they'll get in. No, that's not how that works. They have to have at-large bid points, which they have beaten a lot of great teams this year, but guess what? All those teams are in the region, so those don't count as at-large bid points. So really, they don't have very many points at all because they didn't race a ton against other teams in other regions. So they have no credibility to their name. Therefore, so I don't think they'll make it.
Yeah, interestingly, a wet broccoli, not broccoli,
Baraki.
a wet Baraki, their
Broccoli.
best runner, 13:36 guy, 28:12 guy.
Yes.
The day after this race, where he took 25th, where he was ranked like second or third individually in the nation, obviously a contender. He did a 18-mile long run that following day at like 18-mile long run at 15,
541 pace
like
per
540
mile.
pace.
And elevation.
filthy.
That is an elevation.
At elevation.
Filthy.
It's almost like where was that effort the day before? You know, I bet 32 guys couldn't do that the day before.
No.
Right? Like.
So just very interesting. It's kind of up in the air. We've tried to look into it. What kind of happened?
We should
I don't
say,
really know.
Maybe I'm misquoting this here. Adams State didn't run all of their top guys.
They ran most of them.
They ran most of them.
They ran most.
So they kind of shot themselves in the foot by doing
Who
that.
did? How?
But like they shouldn't have to run everybody.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care.
You don't have to run
You
your
have
top
2
7.
weeks till the national meet. Pack everyone up. You can get 25th through 30th. You'll make it automatically. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you don't run all your top guys, you don't make it. You don't get to go.
That
sucks
on
to
them.
suck.
I mean,
Sucks to
It's
suck.
bad planning. I mean, it's the draw. I mean, it's the advantage and disadvantage of that situation, and they just.
As a
I mean,
coach,
come on.
you just have to be able to have your athletes so mentally sharp that who are racing, because you're saying, all right, we don't need to race these guys, but all you guys still have to perform very well for them to be able to make it at the national meet.
Right.
And by sitting those other guys, everyone just has the expectation going in of this is too easy. Well, wake up. A 10K is not easy. Like, you still have to run.
No, sir.
To some degree, you are still putting a hard effort forward. If Nathan ran 100% effort on Saturday and he had to run at 90% effort, it would still hurt really bad.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So to me, it just questions what the kind of their thought process going into that race. Do they have the right mentality? Are they just going to coast it? Think they're easily going to make it? Like,
Does this ring a bell for anyone? Centerville woman.
High school.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember
Centerville
that
High
a
School.
couple years
Yeah,
ago?
yes.
That was
Sat
absolutely
people
nuts.
That
in a
is
high
right.
school district race?
Yeah, they rested their top 7.
Who's resting people in high school? It's high school.
Yeah, they
It's not
rested
like-
their
yeah,
top
it was
7.
not
JV
like
team
that.
could not get the job done. Unfortunately, the
remember
community,
that.
the parents were absolutely outraged.
What's
As
one
they
of the
should be.
one of the wildest things. I think Mile Split USA wrote an article on it or something like that.
Go check that out.
National
folks.
headline.
Go Google that if you're done
So
listening to this.
yeah, moral of the story: don't rest your people, and make sure that they know that you still got to take it pretty hard to qualify, and don't
not
count
gonna be a
your
cakewalk.
don't count your eggs before they hatch, folks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We're turning into a national podcast. Hunter, D3.
Let's get back on track to them Ohio folks. We'll go women's D3 national championship race. This was up in Michigan State, and it was similar conditions to the D2 regional. Super snowy, terrible
Times were
traction.
slow.
Times were we're gonna throw the times out the window. We're not gonna mention a time because irrelevant, of course. The top individual D3 was Claire Walters. She's from Francescan, Ohio. It's in Steubenville. That's not the OAC. It's another conference. We never raced them without the Otterbein. But she got 19th, and she was All-American.
Good for her.
Great stuff. Dude, she was not she was not supposed to be that high, so it was really impressive stuff. Other than that, it was just kind of like JCU 19th. I think they were ranked about 23rd, so good for them, but nothing like insane.
JCU stays solid.
Yeah, they stay solid. Erica Esper, Cam Bujikase. I don't know how to say the last name, but 51st, 59th.
Say it
Good.
again.
Bujikase. I don't know.
3 times fast.
But also Mount Union struggled, 28th place. Both teams, and we'll see in the men's side, both teams really did not have it this day. Mount Union 28th out of 32. Obviously not what they were looking for, unfortunately. But yeah. And then lastly, shout out to my high school teammate. I didn't know she was still running this well. Lindsay Ott. She graduated 2 grades below me in Old and she runs for Walsh U. That's down in St. Louis. She got 23rd, so she's an All-American for Division III. So good for her.
Look at that, Hunter.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, a little legacy, bringing pride to Orange Nation. Yeah, that's cool. I just looked at the results and saw her on there. I was like, damn, it's impressive stuff. But yeah,
Orange Pioneers.
Yes, sir. On to the guys' side, and probably the most obvious thing that could have possibly happened this weekend was Alex Phillip getting the win, and to no surprise,
2 straight.
Yep.
2 straight.
Back-to-back XC. That's his 5th title. And guess what, guys? We have big-time rumors coming out. December 1st, we're looking for a grad transfer.
I think this is bigger than rumors. It's still just through the grapevine through a lot of people.
Yeah, it's more than just a rumor.
I don't know if we're supposed to be saying this, but we are.
We're not contracted by anybody.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. We have inside sources. Freaking Alex Phillip's stepbrother freaking goes here and told one of our teammates. Alex Phillip will be announcing December 1st.
Oh. Too late.
Well, Alex, sorry if I just got a stepbrother in trouble. But, I mean.
Maybe we should cut that part out.
No, I like it like that.
I don't know. We'll see. But where do you guys think he's going to go? I mean, we don't know. I mean, we don't know officially where he's going. We just heard he's transferring. So
I heard through the grapevine, Portland.
Portland.
We'll see. It's an old grapevine, but that's where I heard it from.
Wisconsin would be cool.
Wisconsin would be cool. Colorado would be cool. We'll see December 1st. Maybe. I guess don't know for sure. But yeah, Alex Phillip, I think he's graduated. I think he's ready to be done with D3, and as he should be. I mean, to me, Alex Phillip is just so much better than everyone else in this division. It's just not that fair. You can just tell he was toying with the competition on Saturday. I watched the race. We actually had all 3 screens going up in our dining hall when these guys were racing. We had my iPad up, my phone up, my laptop up. I had all 3 different division races going on. Alex Phillip looked like he was just cruising, man. Just looked great. So if he does go D1, I have no doubt in my mind he'll run real well for him. And led his team to a 4th-place finish. That is tied for what they did last year with, not even arguable, this is pretty obvious, a less talented roster for sure. Last year they had Daly, they had Pearson, they had guys that are not on this team anymore, and these guys ran really well, highlighted by a Joe Backus All-American finish at 26th, Champa 49th, Barrett Sheetel 67th, Adam Shaw 78th. Congrats to those guys. They moved up well during the race. They were 8th place early on, moved up to 4th as a team, and yeah, good job to them. Do want to talk about, though, the rest of Ohio. Terrible day for everyone, other team in Ohio, unfortunately.
Hey, let's calm down. They made it to the national
but
meet.
all of these
They're
teams,
at the national meet.
Fair. But all these teams should have been top 20. Case Western 28th, Otterbein 29th, Mount Union 31st out of 32. Come on.
It's at the national meet.
The Otterbein's been there so many times. They know they wanted so much more. I'm sure Case Western wanted a lot more. And Mount Union, I mean, after Jeff Joseph's huge performances, Vincent Clementi, they're definitely pretty bummed. I have to think, which stinks. But yeah, you're right though. It's great they made it there, and they've all had great seasons. Unfortunately, capped off pretty poorly.
Is it just me? But I feel like in D3, more than other divisions, like literally anything just happens on like a given day. Like
yeah.
It does not matter what you're ranked, almost like completely. Like when you hit bad conditions, and I feel like it's more prevalent in D3 for some reason.
In this course, it was really, like I mentioned, it was snowy. It was probably more variable than it would have been if it was on like a nice sunny course. I don't know.
Yeah, but like ranked number 1 and 2 programs coming into this, I believe Panoma Pizzer and like North Central.
Yeah.
Ranked 1-2.
Went 5-7. Yeah.
Yeah, went like 5-7.
No,
like,
that's what I'm saying. You're right.
Yeah, lost by like 100 points, like randomly.
It's just. I think the weather could play a part to it. Phillip didn't let that stop him, but I think, it probably got in a lot of people's head a little bit. It probably affected them a lot. Simon, he ran all right. He got 15th, All-American spot. Good for him. He was 5th last year, so probably not the most excited for that, but he didn't run bad, per se. He ran fine. And then the other 2 Wilmington boys got 56, and I don't remember where George Rickett got. George Rickett, 121st.
Yeah.
So, fine days, I guess, for them. But yeah, overall, Alex Phillips keeps on killing it. The rest of the Ohio teams definitely have some work to do in track, but I'm sure they're all motivated more than ever, and they will perform greatly.
Yeah.
Is that all you guys got?
That's all I got.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in to Talking Shop, Ohio's #1 distance running podcast. We'll see you next time, probably after some of the national meet. Trying to think. Next time, running lane. I don't know where running lane is. Probably Foot Locker Regionals will happen. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see next time.
When the meets happen, we'll be there.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll be
go.
there. That's all I know.
Good work.
See you, folks.
See ya.